Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today to put some eyeshadow on my face. Now, I got a very exciting parcel in the mail yesterday. It's from Kaleidos Makeup and it was the release of their next 2 Futurism palettes. Now, a few months ago, I did do a review of their first 3 Futurism palettes. So the green one, the pink one, and the sort of bronzy red one. So I thought what I'll do with these new palettes is the same thing. So I'll do a look today with one palette and then tomorrow I'll do a look with the next palette and they'll be in this one video. Now, when you're watching this, these should be released or just being released. They're releasing the 13th of August, which is when this video is going up, but I'm in a time zone that's sort of ahead of time. So I don't know what time this is releasing. When you're watching this, it might be releasing in a few hours or it might have already been released. So I put my videos up 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, but this might go up, I don't know, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is in like, I don't know, hours and hours time. So it should be up within the next 24 hours. So like I said, these are the next palettes in the Futurism collection. So we've got them here. We've got the Futurism IV and the Futurism V. And as you can probably tell, these are a little bit more colorful than the last ones. The last ones were still pretty colorful, but these are like different level of color. So we have the VR Neon and we have the Electro-Turquoise. So we can tell that they're going to be pretty damn bright. And I will link the website down below where you can buy these from. They're $24 each and they're going to be limited edition. So these particular ones are limited edition. All right, I did film how this was packaged as I was opening it. So let's cut to that. Okay, so I'm just about to open this on Instagram stories, but I wanted to really show you guys the packaging because it comes like, I just took the outer packaging off parcel bag, whatever. So it comes in that, in this, and then the box is inside that. So it's very, very, very well protected. If anything's broken, I'll be surprised. Okay, so this is the box that I'll open on Instagram. Then I'll be back to put this on my face. All right, so these are the boxes that the palettes come in. They're similar to the design of the palette, and they do have the details on the back. So they've got the ingredients, and they've just got a few details. And these are the actual palettes. So they're cardboard palettes and they're magnetized, but they've almost got like a flip sort of closure and a mirror inside. So they are quite sturdy, but they're also quite small and compact. And the neon palette, so the VR Neon has what looks like a paint sort of, I don't know, paintbrush design with little silver accents on it that are raised. So there's a bit of detail that's gone into that. And the Futurism V Electro-Turquoise is really, really highly reflective. So it's really cool. It looks so cool in person. It feels really nice and like slippery because it's just, yeah, it's so cool. But it's got the same sort of flip open packaging that's quite heavily magnetized. So each palette has 6 shades and there are 4 mattes and 2 new formula. So the new formula are the ones that look sparkly. They're supposed to be a mix between like a duochrome and a glitter. So this neon one is really, really, really bright. So it's got a glitter orange, a glitter pink, red, orange, yellow, green matte. And it really does live up to its neon name. And the names of the shades are really, really cool. If you're into like video games, and especially old school video games, this is really, really rad. So the first shade is Hologram, then there's Easter Egg, Game Over, Boss, Level Up, and Glitch. So if you've played video games, that all makes sense to you. Man, this turquoise one is so cool on camera because it just catches that light, but it has the same format where it's got the 2 glitter duochrome shades. It's got a silver and it's got a teal color or a turquoise. Then it's got 4 mattes, but it's got a dark brown, a dark teal, a bright orange, and more like a pastel bright teal color. So very, very pretty. And the shades from this palette remind me a little bit more of like retro futuristic or like sci-fi or something. It's got Wired, Teal, Tron, Ville Take, Force Field, and Shockwave. So they're pretty fun. All right, I'm going to swatch them both on my arm. So no primer, no nothing. I'm just going to swatch them dry, see how they go. And then I'm going to start by using the VR Neon palette, and I'm sort of thinking of doing like a splattery sort of design. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to end up. And then tomorrow I'll come back and I'll do a look on camera with the Electro-Turquoise palette. All right, we've got the first 3 shades from the VR Neon palette. So we've got Hologram, which is beautiful. So it's almost got an orange base with a gold shimmer. It's like a micro glitter. It's very, very, very sparkly. Then we have Easter Egg, which is a neon sort of magenta pink. Very pretty as well. I don't see a duochrome in there. It just looks like straight up pink, but it's very pretty. I think maybe from one angle it looks more magenta. Maybe from another angle it might look a little bit more purple. I'm not too sure, but it is very pretty. Game Over is the matte neon red. This, oh my God, I'm just going to get a little bit more. I do know that their eyeshadows are very pigmented. They might take a little bit to build up, but they're beautiful. And that red is divine. It's a true red. It's a true red and it's not pink, which is fantastic. It sort of looks like it blends out more to orangey red. All right, last three shades. We've got Boss, which I've just got some there, whoopsie-daisy. So Boss is definitely a vibrant neon orange. It is a little bit flaky in the pan, which is why it's sort of gone everywhere, but I'll tidy that up. All right, then we've got Level Up, which is the yellow. So it is quite a bold yellow. Yellow tends to be one of those colors that you may need to build up a little bit because it's such a light color, but it is definitely an intense yellow. And what I like about it doesn't look like it's got too much like white pigment to it, because they can look really chalky. This looks like it's just yellow pigment. And then lastly, we have Glitch, which is the sort of lime green. I'll pick up a little bit more of that. All right, a little bit more of the lime green. So you can see once again, it just takes a little bit for it to sort of cover a large area, but they are nicely pigmented, which is rad. So that's VR Neon. All right, onto the Electro-Turquoise. So we have the first three shades. The brown is quite flaky, or not flaky, but a little bit, picks up a little bit of product. It's a little bit dry, but it is beautifully pigmented. That's Wired. Then we have Teal, which looks a little bit patchy, a little bit dry as well, but you can see that it sort of builds up to a nice even dark teal matte. I love these colors. They're really, really beautiful. Then we have Tron, which is that new, oh, this is beautiful. That is a really, really sparkly, it looks more silver on the camera than it does in real life. In real life, it sort of looks like a teal, but then it has almost like a slightly yellow shimmer to it. It's interesting. It's very, very pretty. All right, next three shades. So we've got Ville Take, which is like a tangerine orange. It looks a lot more, I would say, yellow based than the one in the last palette. So there's no like double ups. That looks like a fresh sort of orange, whereas the other one's a little bit more reddy orange, I guess. Then we have Force Field, which is sort of the color of the packaging. So it's a softer matte sort of aqua teal color. It's very pretty. And we have Shockwave, which is a silver glitter, and this is like a topper color. I might have to zoom in a bit so you can see it, but it's very twinkly. I would call that twinkly. It's like no base color, but then like a beautiful twinkle. These are the kind of silvers that I can jam with. All right, so if I turn the ISO down, you can see the sort of twinkliness of it. So it's not a sort of gray silver. It's just more like a twinkly white. But with very little base color. It's very, very, very pretty, and you could layer it over any of these sort of colors to just make it twinkle a bit. It's very pretty. I want to spread it out a bit. Yeah, it's like glittery. It's very pretty. All right, so prior to filming, all I did to my eyes was use some Bare Minerals Gen Nude eyeshadow primer in the shade Lit, and I just set the crease a little bit with some face powder. So this has been on for quite some time now, so it's probably well set. All right, so I'm a little bit unsure what to do with this palette, because normally if I was to use these sort of shades, I would use it as a pop of color amongst sort of like, I don't know, a more neutral look, but I want to use every single color in this. I was thinking of maybe isolating it and doing sort of like a cool eye with the yellow, the green, and the sort of orange gold, and then a warm eye using these. Three, so doing different eyes, but I might actually try to use all shades in one look. We'll see how we go. So I'm going to start with the mattes because I know the shimmers are generally quite intense with the Kaleidos formula, so I can just put the shimmers over the top. But what I really want to start with, oh, I don't even know. I'm going to do like dots of colors just randomly and try to mimic it on the other side. I don't think it's going to go well, but we're going to try. I'm going to start with green. I'm going to be mainly using these pencil type brushes because they're easy to sort of put product in a particular area. This one's from Ella Cosmetics. So I'm just going to put this just here. Now, these are quite soft, and like I said, they're a little bit dry, so you can find that there might be a bit of fallout. But from past experience, you can sort of just flick it away, which is great. So I do want this look to be quite haphazard and just like, almost like just, I don't know, spotty everywhere. So I am going to do the sort of gold shimmer orange color in the inner corner there, and maybe some of the shimmery pink on the lower lash line. So I'm going to leave those areas sort of pretty free for now. Using the same brush, but I've just wiped off some of the excess. I'm going in with the orange shade. So I'm going to just tap that. That's super intense. Wow. Look at that. That is so intense. It's really well behaved. So I would sort of naturally want to put the yellow in the crease, which is what I might do, but I'm leaving a bit of space up there because I'm trying to do this kind of color blocking sort of neon camo sort of thing. So I want to leave a bit of space for the yellow. Again, same brush. I've just wiped off the excess and I'm picking up the yellow, which picks up super well. And I'm sort of just dotting that on the rest of the lid, which once again sort of makes it look like citrus colors. Then I'm swapping over to a very small fluffy brush. This is from Sigma. It is the Detailed Diffused Crease, because I do want to blend out a little bit of yellow into the crease, but I don't want it to go too high. So I'm just taking a little bit on the brush, tapping a little bit off, and just sort of blending that out a little bit so it sort of looks a little bit neater. And on the same brush, I'm picking up just a tiny bit of that green just to bring that into the crease as well. I don't want the green to be overpowered by the yellow in the crease, but I sort of want the areas to match up a little bit. So like here, you can see the yellow has taken over that sort of area. I want to put the green there. So there's really not much patchiness here. They blend quite nicely. The only patchiness you might get is if you really want to build up the color, like the color built up better there, but not so much here. I might go back in and build that up a little bit. The yellow can look a little bit patchy, but nothing major. So I'm just gonna go back and intensify that. All right, with another pencil brush, this is Morphe M321. I'm going to go in with the red and I'm going in on the lower lash line. So I'm just going on the outer corner. And I've got no primer on my lower lash line. If you wanted to make these really intense, I'd probably say, you know, put some primer, but I rarely do. And that's a really beautiful red. I wouldn't necessarily call it a neon red because it's pretty much just your fire engine red, which is really beautiful. I think swatched it looks a little bit more orange, and on the eye it looks slightly more, I don't want to say raspberry because it's not raspberry red, but it does look like it's a little bit more cool toned than it looks when it's swatched. I'm looking like a toucan right now. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a neon red because I think of a neon red, there is such a thing as a neon red, and I just call this red, but it is a pretty red. If you did want to make it a little bit more neon, maybe pick up some orange and layer over the top, and then you get more of a sort of neon red effect. It's really pretty. I've got a very, very tiny blending brush from Morphe. This is the M506, and I'm just going to just blend that out a little bit. So there's nothing on this brush. It's a clean brush. It's just to sort of blend the colors. All right, with the same brush that I used for all the shades on the top, I've wiped it off again, and I'm going in with that hologram shade, so that shimmery sort of orange with the yellow gold shift thing going on, tapping off a little bit of excess, and I'm just going to pop that in the inner corner just for a bit of brightness. I'm mainly putting that on the top lash line, and I want to put the pink on the lower lash line. So this is a very, very pretty pop of glitter. I really like a bit of a everyday pop of glitter. And with the same brush that I used to lay down the red and the little bit of orange over the top, I'm going to go in with the pink shade, that one there, and I'm going to pop that just on the inner corner. Whoa, that adds Oh my God, I don't know if you can capture it on camera. Okay, there's a little bit of fallout, but that laid on top of the red is glorious. So it adds a beautiful cool toned magenta shimmer because it does almost reflect a purple element. The shimmer does look quite bluey purple, but it layers over the red so well. So it just adds a really nice vibrancy to it. I do have a bit of fallout, so I'm just going to flick it away. Luckily, it does sort of flick away. And that was sort of the only shade that really did give much fallout. And it might have been the brush, it might have been how much I picked up. But like I said, it is sort of easy just to flick it away, which is good. But that is a pretty full-on eye look. I think it's kind of cool. Every shade performed really well and really vibrantly without much effort or much help or any special technique or any special primer or wetting your brush. It all worked really well. I'm going to go off now and do some brown liner. I don't want black to sort of mess with this. I might do a red liner actually. I'll do a liner. I'll let you know what it is. I'll do some mascara, maybe some lashes, and I'll come back with a finished look. All right, I'm back with the final look and I decided not to use lashes. So yeah, I thought I like it without lashes, and often I find that a commentary that a lot of people have for crazy looks like this is that people only make it work by putting lashes on it. So I didn't want to do that. But what I did for the liner, so I put wing liner and I also put the same liner on my waterline, was I used the Inglot gel liner in the shade, what is that, 79? So it is a red gel liner and I thought it worked really well, and it surprisingly matched up like perfectly with the red color over here. So before I put mascara on my lower lash line, I was like, my waterline and my lash line look identical, but I think it's a really fun look. And for reference, the mascara I used was the Benefit Roller Lash. All right, so to recap my first look and my first impressions of this palette, I think it's really nice. I think all the shades, like, okay, the mattes are a little bit dry and can be a little bit flaky when you pick them up. Like there's a little bit of, they can feel a little bit dusty in the pan, like you swirl your brush in and it, you know, picks up a bit of product, but it's very easy to pick up. It's very easy to lay down quite intensely without like a white base or, you know, a really special base. Like they do look very vibrant. If you want them more vibrant, I'm sure you can use different techniques. I definitely think the shimmers were really intense and really can change up a look. I think the pink like pretty much made the lower lash line. I don't know if you can see it properly. I'll turn that down, but it just looks so punchy and vibrant. It's crazy. So that mixed with the red was gorgeous. And I think it sort of steals the show. So I still think that the shimmers are possibly slightly better formula than the mattes, but the colors together are really, really fun. And you can like, okay, I used every shade because I sort of wanted to force myself to do that in one look. But you could definitely just pick out a couple shades to use as a little pop of color in a look. Like I could definitely do this lower lash line with a brown shimmer, basic brown lid. I think it could be really pretty. Otherwise, you know, I could imagine adding that pop of orange or yellow to sort of like a warm nude look. You definitely don't have to wear it like I'm wearing it, but it's a pretty fun look, and surprisingly, it's turned out pretty well. I think the only downside that I have with this palette is, and I probably should have mentioned this in my last video as well, but I do think that the names would be better to be printed on the packaging, because like with the palettes from the last round, I actually got rid of this slip because it kind of gets in the way. So if I ever wanted to know the colors, I have to look it up online. And also I find the slip sort of falls out there. So for me, I don't really like the slip, but the shadows work really well. All right, so we're back for the second day using this palette, and I'm sort of trying to balance sort of using the fun colors, but also creating a look that I can wear out because I am going to the city today. So I sort of want something fun, but not too noticeable. Not like yesterday where, you know, people could notice you across the street. I want to hold off on that. So I'm a little bit confused about what to do with this color combo. All right, what I've decided to do, and I don't know if it'll work, so we'll see how I go, but I'm going to do the darker colors on the top lash line and the brighter colors on the lower lash line. So we are going to go with the teal. If you're going, Kat, you just said darker colors on the top lash line. Well, this is one of the darker colors. So let's go teal. There's 3 teals in this, or 3 turquoises in this turquoise palette. So, you know, we can't avoid it. So it definitely holds its own just on normal primer. You don't need to apply it with a glitter glue or wet to make it look quite intense. But just with the same brush, I'm going in with a matte dark teal next to it. And this is where I'm sort of saying that the top is going to be more dark. So I love this color. This is my favorite tone of teal. So I think this sort of color works so well with browns and bronzes and golds. If you just wear like a brown shimmery eyeshadow, you can totally just dot this in the outer corner or on the lower lash line. And it just makes it like your eyes pop, especially if you've got brown eyes. It's gorgeous. All right, same brush, which is just an e.l.f. brush. This is the other side. I'm just picking up the brown. Now I've had to tap a bit of that off because the brown is quite powdery to pick up. So there's that. This is looking a bit cool toned, but once again, that might be because I'm using the same brush. I'll just pick up a tiny bit more, put it here, and then get another brush to blend it out. All right, this is just a Sigma diffused crease brush, and I'm just sort of getting a little bit of brown to blend all that out. I would have liked, well, this is where I'd probably reach for more of a transition color to help blend it out, but there's none in this palette, so we're just sort of going with it. Just picked up a little bit of that teal. You can see how pigmented it is. Just to put that in the inner part of the crease. I can also see with blending, I'm getting some of the shimmer up into the crease. I did find with their last palettes, their shimmers tend to sort of migrate. Like if you blend them, they tend to like blend around everywhere because the shimmers are very soft. So these types of shimmers, if you want them just in one area, probably apply them last because they will start moving around the whole look. And just getting a little bit more of that brown just to deepen that outer corner. I do have a little bit of fallout from the brown, but it's not, you know, hopefully it flicks off pretty easily. This is a very, very soft shadow, so I'm getting a lot of kick up in the pan, so I'm being very careful with how much I pick up. Just got my powder brush and seeing if I can flick off some of that. I can, which is good. I'm actually getting the brush that I used to blend out my primer earlier, just to sort of blend all this in, because the brown is looking a little bit patchy. It's not a big deal, but I think it's more that I've been a little bit cautious with using it because it is so powdery. And what I mean by powdery, so hopefully you can see there that you just put your brush in the pan, it picks up a lot as well as here. So you've got to be very careful with how much you pick up. So for me, that's not blended as well as I would like, but until I actually go and get like a crease color to work into the look, it's hard. With the colors that I have, I can either add another color into the crease or keep building up the darkness, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to skip that for now and come back to it later, maybe with the liner. It will cover a little bit of it, but I've just got a little bit of that dark turquoise color. I'm just going to pat that back to intensify it. So I could just use a brush to put this back on, but I just think it's a little bit easier to control just right now with my finger. All right, just on a smaller, firmer brush, I'm going in with the light shade, so that bright sort of turquoise shade, and I'm just popping that on the lower lash line. It does look a little bit muddy in here because I did have some fallout that sort of stuck. I really should have cleaned that up with a bit more concealer, but sort of hard when I'm sitting in my lounge room, so I'll reassess when I go to do my liner, but this is applying quite nicely. Hopefully it's sticking pretty well. I do find that these sort of really soft eyeshadows that pick up a lot of product on the brush, you know, they can apply really nicely, but as you go to blend something, they sort of blend together a bit, and that's what I'm finding with the top here. They sort of migrate and move a bit, which is, you know, not a huge problem. It's just something to be mindful of. And now I've just wiped off that brush and I'm going in with the orange just right in the outer corner. I sort of want this just to be a little subtle pop, but at the same time, I'm like, I really like this color. I want more of it. So I'm sort of moving it and migrating it a bit. Okay, with that same brush, I'm going to put back a little bit of that brown just to sort of build it. Like I said, it sort of has mixed in with the other colors a bit. All right, last shade, I'm going to use that silver. I'm just going to pop that right in the inner corner. This sort of look, to be fair, I probably have used this really badly. It's very pretty. It sort of mimics the color above it because I've sort of layered it over that light teal color, that light turquoise color. So it's sort of giving the same effect as the first shade that I put down, but you can see that it is a very bright sort of white iridescent shimmer, or yeah, micro shimmer. And you can layer it over the orange, you can layer it over any color, which is really nice. I'm just going to wipe off that brush and go a little bit in with the first color as well, just to sort of distinguish it slightly. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go away and put some liner on and do some mascara, but I think I might come back and intensify the orange a little bit. I might just do some little tweaks. I'm thinking I might put some orange into the crease a little bit, but I want to clean up this area a little bit more before I do that. I did find, just looking at my eyes, a lot of the eyeshadows did sweep away with the powder brush, but I do have some teal shimmer sort of just hanging around in this area. So I'm just going to put a little bit of concealer on and tidy that up before I put any more eyeshadow on. All right, I'm back, and liner has made a huge difference. I did tidy up on my under eye area with some more concealer and set it. It did sort of take away from some of the eyeshadow underneath, so I'll go back and sort of touch that up a little bit. But on the top lash line, I just used ColourPop. This is the Swerve gel liner, so it's just black. And then on my waterline, I used two Inglot liners because I really wanted to enhance the sort of two colors. So in the inner part, I use this color, which is, what is that, 87. And on the outer half, I use this orange, which is in 63. So it's just that one there that I put on my waterline. So it's really made the lower lash line sort of pop, but I do want to go back in and just emphasize the color a little bit more, which is why I haven't done mascara on my lower lash line. Again, I'm just using Roller Lash mascara from Benefit, and I've just done that on the top lash line so far, and no lashes. All right, so I'm just going back in to build that up because, like I said, they're the type of colors that can just sort of fade away a little bit if you blend it too much or whatever it might be. So I'm just sort of intensifying that light teal on the lower lash line, and I've got a nice distinction now that I've made with the liner, so I can really tell where I want to emphasize the teal and emphasize the orange. Now I just want to emphasize out here a little bit. I am finding that the orange is sort of, it's definitely there and it's definitely vibrant, but it's sort of competing to be noticed, I feel. Like it's not as vibrant as the aqua shades. So just to get a little bit more orange in the look, I'm just gonna really just put a tiny bit in the outer corner crease. I'm once again applying this really lightly because I'm worried that's gonna take over the look, but I really do wanna inject just a little bit more orange. I think the brown is a really nice sort of midpoint between the teal and the orange. It works really well. All right, the last thing I want to do is use a little bit more of that silver because I sort of feel like it was a throwaway color in that inner corner. Like you can definitely still see it, and it makes, hang on, I'm going to brighten this. The lighting's really bad at the moment. So you can definitely see it in the inner corner, but I sort of want to put it near the orange as well. So I'm just putting a little bit in the outer corner, but I haven't put much primer here, so it probably won't stick very well. But I sort of wanted to show that it is quite different from the other shimmery shade. All right, a little bit more mascara. All right, admittedly, I think it looked a lot better without the mascara on the lower lash line, but it is what it is. I really like the orange in the outer corner here. I think that was a smart move. And I like the sort of half liner element. So yeah, that's the final look. All right, so I'm surprised by this look. I knew the colors sort of do go well together, but they're also difficult colors to pair if you're not super into really, really bold makeup. I look at this palette and I go, oh yeah, I can see myself injecting, a teal or an orange or a couple of colors into more of a neutral look. So using all the shades together, I'm quite surprised at how nice this turned out and how like complementary the colors are. Like I really like the distinction with the orange and the teal. It's something that I'm probably going to do a lot more in the future. I like the half-half. I like the half-half with the liner. I really do think the liners helped ground the look. For a while I was like, oh, this is not looking the best. But I think it worked out surprisingly well. All right, so I'm going to talk about the formula of this and then I'll talk about what I think about the palettes overall. So firstly, I think the formula of this palette was slightly not as great as the first palette I used, so the VR Neon. And it's not because I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I was a little bit more cautious about this. Because these two colors are very dark, and when you pick them up with a brush, it is a lot of kick up. So you just have to tap your brush in it and it just kicks up a lot of product. So you have to immediately be very cautious about how much you pick up on your brush, because you know that if you tap your brush in the brown without tapping excess off, you're gonna put brown on your eye and it's gonna take over the look. So I was a little bit cautious about these two. I think the dark teal was beautiful and applied really nicely on the eye. But the brown, I sort of applied a little bit patchy because I was taking the smallest amount at a time because I was worried about it taking over the look. So you do have to be a little bit careful with those because they are softer formulas. So you can pick up a lot of product on your brush without knowing it. And then if you're not careful, it can like rain down your face or apply too much in an area you didn't want it to be in. So I was a little bit more cautious about these. Whereas yesterday, I think with the neons, they didn't have as much kick up, so I wasn't so concerned about them. When it came to these formulas, I think they all applied really nicely. There was not a lot of kick up. There was not a lot of fallout. The shimmer shades had a little bit of fallout, but it's not a big deal. I did find though that with the mattes, if you blend around the mattes, they can sort of blend away. So like the lower lash line and even the teal, I had to go back and sort of intensify the color after I blended out the edges because they're so soft, they can dust away. So you do have to kind of go back and intensify the look if you want it bolder. With the shimmers, I think they applied nicely. This one's a really versatile color. It's not a silver, it's just like a white iridescent sheen, and I think it's really beautiful because you can put it on bare skin for a twinkle, you can put it over the brown, you can put it over the orange, you can put it over any color. It just adds a little bit of a twinkle to a look, which I think is really nice. I also thought this color was really, really pretty, but you can sort of get this effect by layering that over that. So yeah, I found that element was a little bit redundant and I'm like, damn it, why did I do that? But I think this is really, really beautiful and it's a really, versatile shade. So yeah, I do like this. I think formula wise, it's a little bit soft. It is very pigmented, but you just have to be a little bit careful with it. I went into this palette being like, okay, I like the colors individually and I'll definitely use the colors individually, but what am I gonna do creating a look entirely of the one palette? And I actually think the effect is really nice, a little bit more bold than I was expecting, but I think it's really nice. I really love how the orange offsets the teals. I think it's really, really pretty. So I'm quite impressed. I'll definitely reach for this palette if I'm just using like your, typical brown shimmer and I want to add a little bit of pop of color. I think this is a really nice palette for me to reach for. I really like the combination of the orange and the teal and then mimicking it on the waterline. I would totally do that again. I think I'd probably put orange in here and then the dark teal there and mix that with like a teal winged liner. I think it'd be really pretty. So I like this look overall. I think it's really pretty. So overall, I do think the turquoise palette is one that I would incorporate into my daily looks probably more commonly than the neon one because I find that these colors can work really nicely with browns. So it's something that I can go, oh yeah, I can see myself injecting a pop of teal, injecting a pop of sparkly iridescent white silver, injecting a pop of orange. It's something that I can definitely see myself doing. However, I do think I'm a little bit more impressed with this palette, only because it's a little bit more unique to my collection. And I think overall, I had less issues with the application. So I'm looking at the pans and there's not much kick up in the pans. I don't know if they're pressed firmer or whatnot, but I just found that I didn't have as many issues or I wasn't as concerned about applying these. And I think some of the colors in here are really, really gorgeous. Do I need to wear neons every day? Probably not. But once again, the orange and the red aren't technically neons. So you can quite easily incorporate those into daily looks. And also this shade is beautiful. It really, really helped set off the red. And it's really complicated. So it's a magenta, but because it's got that sort of cool tone shift to it, almost like a purpley shift to it. Yeah, it's just beautiful. And I loved layering it over the red. I just feel like that combo, it just adds something really like crazy. So you got red and then you've got this pink color. That's such a rad combination. So if you're you know, if you're quite brave with your colors, I would recommend this one. I think it's really, really, really fun. But both palettes I enjoy. I like having them. I think they're both fun palettes. But I would have loved to have seen the two dark shades to be pressed a little bit firmer or have a little less kick up, so I can kind of confidently go in with a crease brush, blend it out without going, oh shit, I'm going to ruin this look. So yeah, there was that. All right, I did find out the time that these are releasing. It's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So when you're watching this, it's not going to release until sometime tomorrow. So you've got plenty of notice. I'll link the website down below and any other information that I have. So thank you so much to Kaleidos for sending these to me. I had a fun time testing out the new palettes. Well done. They're bright. They're beautiful. So I'll see you guys next time. And if you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what palette you like the most or what look you like the most. I think I like this one the most. I don't know. I sort of want to mix them both now. I sort of want to go teal and a bit of red and a bit of stuff. Anyway, that's for a later date. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.